Welcome back. We will discuss what is happening in DeFi, what's going on. We will explore together why DeFi is a paradigm shift in the financial industry as we know it today.
Welcome, Garrett, to Bangkok, and welcome to my office in Bangkok. I'm located in Thailand, Bangkok, now for some time, and this is my office here, and I'm running some of my companies here in Thailand. And we have an office. We're bootstrapping a film studio here. Firstly, I'm very happy to see you without a suit.
Well, I didn't pack one. My thought was,
Yeah.
there's cheap suits in Bangkok, so I only have like 2 suits. I have a blue suit and a gray suit, and I figured if I come to Bangkok, I could get a 3rd suit maybe.
Yes.
But I'm not sure what the 3rd color should be. They got blue, gray, black maybe?
White?
It seems like white suit might be kind of controversial.
A green suit would work. Apparently, with the current market condition, like
It's
in a
true.
green suit for the pump days.
It would match. Then I need a red suit though, because we're gonna have a lot more pain soon, right?
Yeah. Or the curve color suits with all the different like colors.
A gorgeous Technicolor dream suit. That would be amazing. That would be good.
That would be the best. You're probably gonna get it done here in Thailand if you want to.
I probably could.
Like a curve colored suit. No, I think probably just a black suit would be nice.
Yeah, I have like one, but it's from like back before.
Maybe with the green. Maybe different ties. That would be easier. Like
ties,
a
I got a bunch of
tie,
ties. Yeah, I got dozens of ties, so people don't notice that I only have 2 suits because I'm able to like mix and match. But
yeah, no, I love the consistency, man, and I'm really happy to now be here together where we can like dive deep on the stream, because we met already in Bangkok, and we had like really awesome discussions, and very quickly we were like, let's do this on stream so other people can also join into the discussion.
you do a lot of videos, right?
Yeah, so in the past I did more videos, and actually during the bull market I kind of stopped.
Makes sense. Bull market's like a terrible time to do things.
Yeah, so we just had this discussion, right? Like, so what, like, and you have also like a very nice niche channel, like focusing on good quality content.
Oh, right.
Where we're not talking to, we will talk about the price. Don't worry.
I don't care
but
about price.
But like the more important thing is just talking about like, hey, what is happening? Why are we here for? Like, what's going on, and what we're actually trying to do. And that kind of content mostly is a bit harder for people to grasp. So it's like a niche thing. And I stopped making videos for a while, for multiple reasons, but especially because I was just like thinking like, what is the angle? And I felt the market was just too crazy, to be fair, actually. And I had a video actually that I made on Ivan Tech's channel where I said like, what's the right time to exit the market? And this was almost at the top, and I was like, I just don't want to make more videos because I feel we're gonna go into a bearish trend, and a lot of the projects that I was seeing that were new, that they were not that excited.
Yeah, it was terrible copies. Like you just fork a protocol, release a token, it would go up 1000x. People would get giddy. It wasn't interesting. Like the stuff that's launched in the past year, by contrast, has been amazing. Yeah, like
Concentrator I like Concentrator. Aladdin DAO, amazing job, guys.
Brilliant.
Awesome. Timeless is something really that I'm following. Frax keeps on delivering. Curve in general. Like ETH in general. Like Arbitrum, Zkis. There's so much things now happening, and I feel there's more things happening now than like before, and so I will crank up my video production as well.
All right, good to hear. But careful, because as soon as like you stop doing videos, I'm selling everything. That's what I learned. As soon as
So what I actually find interesting here now, we're here in Bangkok, and the space here has evolved. Like I lived in Bangkok 10 years ago. For 2 years here, and of course, there was not really a crypto space at the time.
It used to be super like anti-crypto, right? Like I heard Vietnam was very friendly, but I also heard Thailand had like really high taxes, and it was like pseudo-prohibited. Is that actually the case?
Yeah, it's like
it's pseudo-prohibited everywhere. So
that's more like a discussion of like why we're here, right? So I was talking to one of the founders of K-Bank about this topic, and K-Bank is like a big Thai bank, and they were like, this is like, I'm like, why are we here? Like, we need to build like decentralized systems, and we need to separate money from state. Like, we separate church from state, or we need to separate identity from state, right? Separation of identity and state is something I think that's coming next after we do the separation of money and state. And maybe the separation of identity and state will come first. Like these two things are all intertwining now. So there is a more of a belief and understanding now in Thailand that it's very important, especially the people are kind of like waking up, I feel. And people just want to be more self-sovereign. And that's not a bad thing. And I see a lot of people understanding that core principle. The people that don't understand that, there's so a lot, especially also in Thailand, they just all get into USD or, you know, other like Cosmos stuff or other like BNB stuff. But there is also now coming a big ETH or Bitcoin core community. Yesterday I was at a meetup called Satoshi Square. And this is a meetup that's been running since 2017. And I do every Monday, first Monday of the month, run by a couple of amazing, like really deep technical people actually. And we had a node breakout session where everybody was like presenting their own node setup and like sharing how they do it. And I found out there was a guy in Bangkok, I'm not gonna name, but like he was a bit like he didn't want to share all the locations, but he's running a lot of nodes here from Thailand somewhere, and he's running a lot of things internationally, and he's just like located here. I met other amazing people that were all, you know, here working from Thailand. Or around Thailand, and they're all, you know, coming kind of here to the city. So yeah, that's like amazing to see that the space is like evolving and getting into a mature stage, I would say. Yeah.
Nice. And what about yourself? Like, what was your evolution into this? Like, you talked about it a bit the other day, but like, where did you start off getting into crypto? You know, what kind of ideals inspired you? Like, why don't you tell us your superhero origin story?
So I got into crypto in like 2012, 2013. And my first time getting into crypto was more like, what is this? Some of my friends were working with it. And I'm always been a, you know, technologist, like I always like new technology things. So it's like, okay, this sounds really cool. Let's find out like how mining works. So I got like everybody like into Litecoin mining, Bitcoin mining, and it's just like, okay, made a couple of Bitcoin and not that much actually. Kind of forgot about it, and it's like, oh my god, like it's going from $50 to $100 back to like $30. Like this thing is crazy. And then I got back into it in like 2013. Where I then was actually here in Thailand, where I built a website for Bitcoin Bali. Back then I was a web developer, software developer, and then I got paid in Bitcoin. So I got my first bigger chunk of Bitcoin like while I was working. I kind of forgot about it again, and then in 2016 I got like, well, 15 I got back into it with Ethereum, and then I dropped my consultancy, like IT consultancy job. And I went full-time crypto actually in 2016. I never looked back.
Good on you. It took me until 2019 to go in. So I was like lagged you by a couple of years. I was also 2014 when I got into crypto and then got out and then got back in. So it's like, it kind of finds you when you're ready for it is my thought about it. Like, it tends to hit like technology early adopters earliest because of course it's highly technical. But I feel like now that like NFTs are becoming a thing, it's like finding like the interesting artists and like the interesting like creative types. So it's like,
and this is gonna sound very crazy, right? So how I mostly got into crypto is because I do meditation and I do a lot of like I like to meditate, and I actually saw like you need to get into crypto now. I was like, drop everything you do and get into crypto. This could have been.
So this gave you a vision.
Yeah, it's given me a vision, and I dropped everything and I got into crypto, and that's what I did. And I worked for hedge funds like Cyber Capital, DeFi Capital, and then I worked for multiple projects, Fluid Finance, Fortunify, and some other ones. And then now I'm full circle back to Bangkok and taking a bit of a breather and seeing what the next focus will be. Yeah.
And you were just on a meditation retreat this past week, right?
Yeah.
Did any coins come to you to buy in a vision, or?
Well, I first need to buy that. I'm not going to share. No, I don't have time to. No. Well, I actually do think like we're entering more of a time frame discussion than like I'm not really a trader. Like, and I think from a time frame discussion, it's just like. I think ETH's gonna like like blow everything out of like all the other L1s. It's really cool that's there. So I will constantly support it and research it, work with it, go to the meetups, because I don't want to turn into a maximalist of any sort, but I like, just from a technical perspective, I do see ETH like outrunning all of that. The only thing that I'm also looking into lately is like Bitcoin, like DeFi on Bitcoin stuff, but that's actually not really working. Like, but like I do want to keep those two open, because like I do believe in you need a very strong base layer, and on top of that you need to build systems. So if you just have a new chain that's like Aptos or whatever, it's not going to work, because that's just going to be a government chain or whatever, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I'm kind of interested to hear your kind of like short-term to medium-term like perspective on Ethereum, Bitcoin, especially as someone who's been in the space for so long. Because I'm also like I started off Bitcoin maximalist, and like, you know, in the Bitcoin community, it's so much like, don't sell a single Satoshi. If you sell a single Satoshi, you're just killing yourself. And then like most people, like as Ethereum started developing, and you started realizing that the entire like new internet is being built on Ethereum. Yeah. All the smart people that I know like started moving away from Bitcoin maximalism towards Ethereum. Yeah. And I'm still bullish on both. So it's like very tough for me to kind of like pick a favorite child here. I do prefer Ethereum though, like quite frankly. Like I'm 99% sure that Ethereum will flip in Bitcoin. It's not a question of if, but when for me. And most people don't think it's going to happen this year. So I'm kind of like, well, maybe it will happen this year then, because like, who knows? It's a crazy space. Yeah,
it's a crazy space. And to be honest, like I'm still a little bit like kind of like, whoa, what just happened? Like, because like if you look at my prediction, like I can share the perspective of the DeFi fund that I was running in the description. There's a whole perspectives with like a DeFi strategy where I predicted like the latest bull run and the exit points, and that actually was spot on. So now I'm like kind of reiterating like, okay, what's going to happen next? Yeah. So it's not a super clear vision yet. So this is just really out of like a little bit more random, I would say. But I do think, I feel ETH is going to flip Bitcoin either this year or next year. I think it's going to happen. Or the only thing that would stop that if actually Bitcoin actually gets like adoption on like the, you know, like Lightning channels or like whatever they're working on.
Yeah, so I somewhat disagree as far as the like bull case for Bitcoin adoption. I don't think it's going to be Lightning that sparks it. No, I think it's going to be like some big country like Argentina or Brazil or something is going to adopt Bitcoin in some meaningful fashion. And that's just going to spark like this huge bull run on Bitcoin. I see like the national adoption of Bitcoin being like a use case that I only see for Ethereum. Because Ethereum is great, and like I know ETH maxis like to say Ethereum is money, and yes, Ethereum has a value, but like I don't think Ethereum is good as just raw money in the way that Bitcoin is. Like it does nothing else, so it's pretty good at just being like this kind of inert like substance that you can transfer that holds some value. Whereas Ethereum is like the tokens you put into the arcade to keep the machine running. So my bull case is not that like you get this meaningful Lightning Network adoption. It's just that like someone else sees what El Salvador is doing and Central African Republic is looking to do, and they start hopping on, and we just start seeing this snowball effect. I know Arthur Hayes thinks it's going to be China. He thinks China is going to start acquiring Bitcoin. His thesis is that China wants to de-dollarize, right?
Yes.
And China's got massive wealth. They're reopening now. They can only put it in a few places. They can put it in gold at that size. They can put it in commodities, or they can put it in Bitcoin.
Real estate, like if you notice around Bangkok, most of it is controlled
real estate. Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's the bear case against that is they already have all the real estate.
So anyway, interesting. That's like an interesting game theory place, right?
Yeah, I don't think China's going to do it, to be clear. Because my article I published yesterday, I talked to someone who's living in mainland China, and I asked him his take, and I was like, "Is this actually going to like the Chinese government going to compel this huge buying cycle?" Yeah. And his response was nuanced. Like he's super bullish on basically like what the prospects are for cryptocurrency in China. But he doesn't see the Chinese government buying Bitcoin directly. He sees it as Hong Kong is going to be embracing in a heavy way cryptocurrency, and that will be the bridge that allows mainland Chinese to get exposure.
Yeah, that's how China gets into crypto nowadays anyway, right? Like we were talking about that beforehand. Like crypto in China is not that at all. Like a lot of people, mostly the richer people, are using it a lot. But mostly, and that is something you told me, like mostly actually BNB chain, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, a lot of BNB, OKX, and Binance they're allowed to use. Oh yeah, we got Jason is here. Jason, welcome.
What's up?
Yo, just saw you guys on audio saying hello.
Nice.
Thanks, man.
Good to see you. So Deo here is new to the Llama parties. Jason's been like a stalwart guest. And Jason, like, why don't you like provide a bit of background about yourself? We've just been talking about ETH versus Bitcoin.
Got into crypto hard in DeFi summer, held tokens a long time before. I've been, I ran a liquid token fund throughout like the bull run. Like got very lucky with the timing of the inception and the return. And now I advise hedge funds on liquid token strategies, and I'm an angel investor around crypto. Recently, I started, I now lead the ecosystem initiatives at a company called Third Web that makes a developer tool that about 100,000 devs use to build and ship smart contracts. So,
nice.
And I've been using Convex since like day one, and so I'm a big fan of it. It's awesome.
Nice.
It's a huge part of my long-term investment strategy. My fund has a really large position. All about it. I think it's still like the biggest alpha in fucking DeFi is like the Curve ecosystem.
Nice. It's definitely a nice month. Just real quick, anyone who's on YouTube, if you can drop a comment and let us know if you can hear Jason, just to make sure we have the audio set up correctly, because traveling, it's always tricky. So Deo here also used to be hedge fund himself.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of curious to hear both of your perspectives on this, because throughout 2022, we heard institutional adoption is coming. What do you see as what's the status of institutions regarding crypto? Have they just been all cleared out from FTX? Are they not going to touch it for 100 years like some people are saying? Were they just sidelined? Was it only a small subset? Are the institutions coming? What do y'all think?
I think they're already here.
They're already here,
but yeah. There's smart money, there's retail money, everything is here already. It's I tend to believe and I believe that we don't need institutions, that we can just kind of do it from high net worth individuals or family offices. That's kind of, high net worth individuals and retail kind of pushing things. And institution side, they will follow the chain that works. So I think they will I think they will come back once they will see a lot of Curve, etc., staying put, what's happening right now. Things keep on working. So,
because the counter to that I always hear is that they need regulatory certainty before that they can bring size in. Is that something that either of you have come across in your dealings with you talked with some banks? I know Jason, obviously you deal with this on a more frequent basis.
I'll tell you how we see it at our fund, so. We see there, who's not in crypto? There are $40 trillion of net worth that are managed by RIAs. Okay.
Yeah.
And of that 40 trillion, or it's 60% is managed by the big five.
Yeah.
Of financial firms, and then the rest are managed by boutique RIAs. And then there are all sorts of surveys done by all kinds of banks like JP Morgan that suggest that 90% of people that are managed by these boutique firms, they are interested in crypto. And when you go and talk to these RIAs, most of them haven't sold it yet. In fact, they don't have a product to sell because of what you said, regulatory stuff, or they don't have the right financial vehicle. When they assemble their of products to sell, there's no good crypto one to grab.
Yeah.
And so our strategy is to create the smart, are you aware of more than Bitcoin and ETH? There's more crypto out there. Here is an index of stuff that is compelling and major themes.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to these RIAs and you're hey, did you know ETH earns yield? None of them know this. And they all go, what? And it blows their minds. And so I think the thing that hasn't happened is this group of money, this huge pile of money is the real institution that we should all care about. Because they all want crypto, and I think over the next 3 years, they're all going to sort of flip the switch. because more funds like mine are going to pop up that like will go through that network and end up on the menu.
Yeah, and I think it will happen through like kind of like structured products. I was talking with a family office in Monaco like a long time. This is like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and they wanted to get big into crypto. And then I was explaining them everything, and then eventually they pulled back because of I think exactly the like staking ETH or other things. Like how do you do that in the most secure way? Like if you be transparent about all the risk, which a lot of that money looks into, it's like, well, they don't want to like I love Convex, but when they see Convex and they understand like, okay, where is my money then? They will not do it. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a...
If you're an RIA right now and you simply want to offer Ethereum plus staking yield and you want to sell that to your clients, the odds of that advisor learning about a product that they can then sell to their clients is very low.
Yeah.
And so what will happen is I think we're going to see people getting on the phone, sending out emails and promoting that these things now exist. And like that hasn't happened yet. It's like, it's just beginning to happen. The RIAs are getting sold on these products. So that is the real thing that's happening soon.
Yeah.
It's been huge.
Yeah. And I know some people that work for banks that manage like portfolios for a lot of like high net worth individuals. And they were telling me that these people just donated a lot of money to the World Economic Forum, for example, right? And it's like they follow what these advisors say. It's actually, as you mentioned, and these advisors, they need to be knowledgeable about like, look, there is this other new thing you can invest in and it needs to be packaged in something. And it's still not there, right? Like, why not? Like, I'm very actually confused by it because I was trying to push this via cyber capital or DeFi capital with regulated vehicles to get those people in, but it's a very long journey, and I think a lot of them pulled back again because of the market like turmoils that happened lately. But yeah,
another bottleneck is auditors. There are very few that can keep up with sort of like the day-to-day of a DeFi fund. Our auditors, very slow. They say what we do is very complicated. It looks really obvious to us, but like it just takes them a lot of time, and there's very few companies that can do it right now.
Yeah.
So that'll grow as the demand grows. I also think that it's not just like the reason why I think this is going to ramp up really quickly with like this area is because there's so many easy things to talk about. Like it's really easy to talk about like Ethereum as like a software platform, and lots of startups are growing, and like that fits into a lot of people's thesis around like investing in the next Google. And then people also really understand like, or they see opportunity in things like when we show other people that are like in our industry, like our industry peers, what we're doing on Convex, like, hey, we're holding cash and we're putting it on Convex, which is like on top of Curve. And we explain how this tree of yield works. Everyone gets it. And you can sort of, I think it's going to go from them getting it to them doing it. Very easy to talk about.
Yeah.
Interesting. So one other question I have kind of on this subject is like, obviously the merge just happened, and like, I don't think like we've like really shouted how amazing it is that this went from like huge energy suck to like 99.9% energy reduction. To what level do like ESG investing concerns come in amongst this crowd? Is this the sort of thing where they would just look at it and be like, well, we can't invest in Bitcoin because like, the narrative of like Bitcoin's boiling oceans or whatnot. And Ethereum is like now all of a sudden like environmentally friendly. Does that at all play into the investment calculus, or is that just kind of like a nice like marketing point?
I mean, I think that's such a who you talk to. Like, I have never encountered this. I read about it, and I think that's because we're talking to a biased, self-selected group of RIAs that are interested in,
they want money.
Tech.
They want money, right?
Yeah,
they don't care about
exactly. It's also like to be seen like how there's a lot of sort of reflection on those requirements right now in the institutional community, and people are reflecting right now on whether or not that was something that they should have prioritized. So
interesting.
Like on all the macro podcasts I hear like a lot of sort of like reflection on ESG and whether or not that should become something that guides investment strategies.
Interesting. So that's starting to be on the out, it sounds like.
it's being discussed. I don't know if it's on the out, but it's like there's increasing skepticism of it.
Yes.
Right. But on the same token, they're not going to invest in Bitcoin because it's less energy efficient. So.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do think Bitcoin will always stay around because you do need a proof of work chain to like kind of like have that spectrum. But I do think like for a smart contract capable chain like ETH is
Yeah, I didn't mean to dismiss too much the Lightning Network earlier because I do think that one of my theses is that at some point, like all the work that's being done on Ethereum is just going to get copy pasted onto Bitcoin, and I think that's actually part of Bitcoin's valuation is the potential for it to do that and kind of realize and grow into this potential.
I think it's small potential, but it could happen.
And once it does, like, I mean, the amount of DeFi like games that you could play on Bitcoin because there's just so much more wealth on the chain is kind of ridiculous. So like, I think that they could pretty quickly flip a switch and compete. The only thing that's stopping them is that all the smart developers are on Ethereum.
Yeah. I feel like anybody that does have an opinion on ESG, like if that's important to them and they're talking about sort of that as a nuance to their crypto investment strategy, like their money's already ending up in crypto. It's ending up somewhere. Like if they're asking for that, otherwise, that's like that's further down the rabbit hole, like to learn that, in my opinion.
And what is your view on like when you advise also funds, etc.? Do you mostly keep them like for like in a clean setup like ETH, Bitcoin, and maybe some other coins, or like,
We want to have, our thesis is like we believe in Ethereum. We believe in sort of like certain types of DeFi. We want to bet on like certain category winners in DeFi. Sort of like we'll hold like Curve and Convex, we'll own Aave and some of these larger DeFi blue chips that are like pretty fundamental building blocks, and they're succeeding on going multi-chain. Mm-hmm. And then we also believe in the L2 thesis, and so we own like our like Matic. We also believe in Cosmos. Like one of our partners is like the CEO of a Cosmos company, and so we have a bias towards that being that should exist. And so and so our exposure to Cosmos is mainly Atom and Osmosis. And then we'll play like DeFi games. Like we don't hold some capital. Like when we see a yield farm, we'll jump in.
Interesting. Now, that kind of ties with what you're talking with earlier. You don't want to be a maxi, and you're also talking about Cosmos being a big thing.
I'm going into that, but like from a technical perspective, I had a lot of discussions. There was actually a Cosmos meetup here in Bangkok that I've been to, and I made a thread of like, I do like the Cosmos hub and everything, but it's just like when you talk about a side chain or an L2, like how it originally, like it's now like a terminology thing, but there's actually no side chains right now. Like a side chain should be something that you can actually sync back to the main chain, right? Like if you have a token on the side chain, like where it's originally described in the Bitcoin when it first came out, it's like you have a side chain on Bitcoin and then you have all the colored coins there that you can just kind of port back to, like a layer one kind of thing, which never really worked on Bitcoin. And then ETH tried to do it. And they're also still, it's not there yet, right? So there's, and even with the Cosmos Hub where you have native bridges, but you still also need to, those bridges also still need to sync and stuff. So I think we're very early days still. So that's what, spreading it out would probably make sense. But I think there will be eventually, like from an investor perspective, you do want to ride those horses, right? Because we're early. But I think eventually one thing will be that main like layer, and there will always be experimentations, but one layer will capture most of the value, like when I'm talking about like a time frame of like 10, 20 years, right? And I think most investors, do they have longer time frames, or it's like just flipping things, or?
Well, we're a liquid token fund, and so it's like people are generally long on this stuff, 5 to 10 years. We're not a VC fund. Our take is, like, I think, Cosmos is ultra complicated. It looks like the most complicated. If you're a developer, building with the fully decentralized stack is ridiculous and incredibly challenging. And like you have to monitor the security of chains of every Lego building your software. It's ridiculous. But what I would say is, just like Solana, like has its critical mass of developers, so does Cosmos. It's going to exist. They're going to build with their stuff. And will it capture all the value? I don't know. Maybe it's gonna like fill in the gaps for like what ETH doesn't do, or what a community doesn't feel like doing on ETH, or there's Canto, like EVM compatible, Cosmos chains. It's just kind of like the way some people prefer using AWS. Some people prefer using Microsoft. It's software preference, and I think that's kind of like what's going on here with a lot of these like L1s, like Solana. People prefer it, and like it's like a Mac or PC type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and from a capital efficiency standpoint, and like bigger like movements in the space. Yeah, let's see which one will get there. I'm a big, although it's also very early days, they're like zero knowledge proofs, like ZK Syncs instead of with the layer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which you're all like thinking of. Like that's also early, but that will blow the need of a lot of like other chains away, I think. But it's all theoretical, so that's why I like more like ETH, and a lot of other things are theoretical. And Cosmos also has working stuff, like where other like communities like ADA or whatever, this is all theoretical, blah blah blah, right? Like, I think we're luckily at a stage where we can say like, well, show me the code, or show me a working like DeFi app, or yeah.
One thing I'll say is, for my position at Third Web, we talk to every company out there, and a lot of the infrastructure providers on Solana, we've all been talking, and nobody's really seeing a dip in like activity on ever. You'll hear about these high profile like, this project moved over, they left Solana, or all of DeFi was like one guy with like 8 things, and like those are interesting, and like the chain is halted all the time. There is absolutely an upward movement across everybody's platforms of more storage being used. Like all the services that people pay for, it's up and to the right, and we're seeing more developers. There's something going on there with the growth. I can't explain it. People just they're doing something to activate more developers, though.
Yeah, and I had an interesting discussion actually also yesterday, but like also throughout just DeFi discussions in general about what yield, right? Like real yield. How do we get that? Because now the yields in some fat accounts, etc., are more interesting. Frax is going. Frax is going for a fat account. They're trying to do that. That's really cool because they get like 3% natively on their tokens via the fat master account.
Yeah, I'm also kind of curious just about this kind of more of like so one of the knocks against DeFi lately has been, why does anyone need DeFi when like treasury yields keep going up? Like you can easily earn 3% in any bank account nowadays, risk free.
It's a Ponzi scheme, right? Like the current system is a Ponzi scheme, and it's like who's at the top. It's more like because they actually build a system where you can build a financial thing where you only need 20-30% of the capital, and it still kind of functions.
If you don't like Ponzi's, you're not going to like any of economics, because most of all these things are Ponzi schemes. It just doesn't grow too fast for it to be sustained.
The thing is, if you want to be more efficient than the current fiat Ponzi, it's really hard because they just have a lot of unfair advantages over DeFi. The only thing that DeFi has, and why you would want to be there, why it works, is that you kind of have not that 20-30% collateral on your fiat, but you have 100% back. You can see where it's going. That's the advantage, and then build a system around that that's transparent, fair, and open. I think that's the only thing that we have, and that's probably enough, right? I was very bullish on real world assets. I think it's interesting, but I think we should just focus on the core of being able to have a form of digital cash and being able to transfer that to each other, or doing some financial products with that. I think that's enough already to reach a couple of trillion DeFi market cap, where we're now back to 60 billion or something.
Something like that. It's getting back. It's but there's not any new stablecoin volume coming in just yet. So it's still stablecoins eroding. And I think we still, like a lot of the big funds still are exploding and going through bankruptcies. Do you think anyone's going to tokenize treasury yields, or do you think they would get killed if they did that?
Well, I mean, Frax is doing not treasury yield, but they go to this fat master account where they basically then park the capital.
Yeah, my understanding of it is it's supposed to be like one more asset that can be used to collateralize Frax.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you have the Frax like dollar coin, which is currently mostly like USDC backing it.
Yeah.
You can also now have like real world master account backing it, which is just so cool. Like
Let's see if they pulled it off. That would be insane because then you have not treasury yields, but you get the 3%, right? Everything you put in the Fed MasterCard now earns 3%.
I believe so.
And when you think about it, like why wouldn't like if you build like if I build like if I have $100 million as a person, I should be able to take that and put it in a Fed MasterCard, right? Because there's a natural entity.
Yeah. It also seems to me that like the
lawyer.
It seems like this also should redound to the benefit of DeFi long term from my like small brain perspective, because like USDC and Tether have been existing for years, earning 0% yield, and that's basically the only thing they were allowed to put their money in was treasury bills, right? Yeah. Now all of a sudden, like they've both about like $50-60 billion a piece, earning 3% yield. Like that's all of a sudden their business model has just come into it. Yeah. Although who knows what Tether was actually doing.
Stablecoins got new use cases after DeFi summer, and that like people could, do the market maker stuff. They could, do lending. Stablecoins were given new utility that like also like enabled liquidity for like a lot of startups. And so like it had this super reflexive, like, let's go long on all of everything that's going on. And like stablecoins exploded. And then on the way down, it like is reflexive. So like they all sort of poof, like, as value went down and our ability to play these games went down, but utility has now been activated. And so like we need to have some sort of new bull run. And I think there's a lot more participants now that are like paying attention.
Yeah.
That's like, I think can't be discounted. There's a lot of people I've been working in the startup world for the last 12 years. And there was something that I've never seen before that is still happening. And that's everyone I know that works in like Web 2 is trying to move over to Web 3. Venture capitalists are updating their fund terms now that are like paying attention. That's like I think can't be discounted. There's a lot of people I've been working in the startup world for the last 12 years, and there was something. Was that?
Oh, MF Inkum is here. I'm not sure. MF Inkum.
Sorry. But like just to finish the point,
a lot of talent moving over, and I've never seen it kind of like at this scale. Business people, product people, people that finance the industry from the venture capital side, they're all transitioning their careers, and so like they're all paying attention.
The most bullish thing that I actually saw yesterday, and also have been seeing more and more in the bear trend, is that people are going back to the core and actually find it important to rebuild the blockchain. For example, I'm talking to some of the devs that are running their own nodes and being just like, I want to see like if I use this DeFi protocol, I want to build back like to the base transaction. I want to see all the different blocks. I want to have more control. I want to have more self-storage. So I see people going back to the core. So I see a new wave of people coming. They came in this bull run, and they all went to shitcoins and etc. And now I see them actually rotating back into like, why are we here and what are we actually doing? And hey, we don't want CBDCs. We need to build our own front. And that's what's making me the most bullish actually right now.
Yeah, and even if you just have like $1 in a bank account versus $1 of DeFi money, like the programmatic aspect of that, just like the fact you can give your developer a stash of dollars and say, do whatever you like with it, I think is just going to blow away TradFi. So I think there's a good reason we see all this people moving in.
And here in Bangkok, by the way, I'm almost paying everything in crypto because like basically it's very easy to exchange crypto to fiat and fiat to crypto. It's just
That's
super
so cool.
Easy.
That's so cool. MF Inkum, we welcome. We would like to hear your perspective. Feel free to unmute and tell us a bit about yourself. It's a gorgeous profile picture. It looks like kind of a curved background, but with like a skeleton warrior or something. What is that?
Yo, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I just joined late. I think I'm a bit late to the party, but I just want to say that I love you guys and what you do, and I don't really have much to add to the conversation. Although I just believe in DeFi in the future, and hope we can create something great together.
Right on. Never too late for the party. I mean, it's 7 a.m. here in Bangkok, so we're planning on going hard, going all morning long.
You can see there is a beautiful sunset behind us. You can see the skyline there a little bit. It's nice.
Hopefully one day I'll get to go.
Yeah. Where are you at, Mr. Sir Inkum?
I'm in the UK at the moment. Should be going to bed, but I saw that you were live on YouTube, so I thought I'd join in.
Nice. Yeah, we had the worst time trying to find a time that would work around the world. So we bit the bullet and got up super early here, but thankfully, I don't know if you like feel like comfortable doxing how much you're spending for this amazing office.
Oh, so basically, I would invite everybody to come to Bangkok. Anybody that comes to Bangkok, I can show them around. Hit me up on Telegram, Dio Brands, and I wish I had to show you around. One of the main nice things about Bangkok is that there's a lot of like free space to build things now. Like for example, this office I'm paying like around $2,000 a month, and it's a huge office actually with a balcony and everything. And I'm working here on a couple of like companies with some friends here. And anybody that wants to, have a place to work in Bangkok, happy to join and grab a desk here and sit down and work on some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's very jealous of. I will say though, the heat, even in the winter here, has been kind of more than I'm used to. So I love it. I don't know how you do it in the summer though, because summer. Okay.
It's gonna get even hotter. Like now you're leaving tomorrow, right? Or
Thursday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's my last day. It's so sad.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of things to see in Thailand. Thailand is an amazing country.
I'd like to come back for sure. I'd like to visit some of the other countries in the region too. Like so I will actually. I'm not done with my trip yet. I have several more countries. I will do like Malaysia for a couple of days. I don't know if I've been to Kuala Lumpur.
Amazing.
And then a day in Singapore. So I still will get to be a little bit in the region, but I missed Vietnam, I missed Cambodia, I missed Laos.
You have to come back.
So I have to come back.
And don't come in rainy season, so don't come like November, December. Well, no.
I'm from Seattle.
October.
I think I can handle rainy season.
Yeah, but like rainy season here, it's like the streets are literally flooded, and like you have to you like if you go out, if you drive cars, your cars get stuck, and don't come here during rainy season, but during the other seasons, great. Yeah.
Did I eat the durian though? Question came in. I've tried a bunch of fruits. I think I got a little durian.
Who asked the durian question?
We've got the side chat.
Durian.
That wasn't me. I just didn't want to interrupt you two.
That's fine.
Yeah. No, the fruits here. The fruits here are so good. Like I have mango in America, and it's like stale compared to the fruits that you get here. Yeah. Like it's just so juicy and.
Not allowed to eat real food.
I know. Yeah.
Not allowed to, grow. Try to keep us stupid.
But I mean, it's been so much fun, and like I've been doing the Muay Thai boxing, which has been a blast. Like, oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
How was it? This happened?
No, this happened from jogging actually.
Oh, okay.
It was so sad because I went back yesterday after I got back from my. Because this just happened while I was like jogging on the island the other day.
Okay.
But
you got attacked by a monkey.
No, that happened when I was in Costa Rica once.
Okay.
But like with Muay Thai, you have to do like the elbows. So I wasn't able to do the all the left elbow exercises. They were all laughing at me. But
Muay Thai, it's really cool. There is even if you want to stay here on the Thai visa, there is a Muay Thai boxing visa. And,
I don't think I'm that good. I mean,
but they shoot you up, and then you need to do a photo shoot every 3 months, and then you can get a 9-month visa here.
I was saying that could be the third suit, I guess. I can get one of those like boxing like outfits. And
it's hilarious.
No, it's been a blast. So like really like the country a lot, and hope to make it out here. The flight just is such a killer.
It's been a killer flight.
So I mean I'm tall, so you're also fairly tall. Like fitting on an airplane, at least the international, whatever.
You have to do business class. If you fly like such a long, it's like
I know.
Kill my legs. I have some problem with my knees. So if I sit like too long like this, it's not gonna work for me. So, or you make a stop in Europe somewhere if you're from the US, or you fly via Japan or something.
Yeah. So my stopover is in Korea, so I also
that's amazing.
I get 8 hours in the Incheon airport. Not enough time really. This time around, going back. So not really enough time to like do much, but like the airport's really nice and whatnot. So
you go to the DMZ zone a little bit.
Oh no! None of that. Like, I mean, you saw that the FBI just came down hard this morning on Railgun. On Railgun.
Oh jeez.
Some North Korean hackers were using it to move some funds.
We're gonna hunt them down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like that's like.
Yeah.
such a dilemma for this space, because I know that one of your passions is like keeping the space clean. Of course, all the work that you do with Llama risks, which we haven't even gotten a chance to talk about yet.
We didn't have a chance to talk about that yet.
Like, how do we balance this? Like, how on earth do we actually manage to allow this to be an open system that anyone can use and yet also keep the bad guys out? Like, how do you see this balance?
Yeah, it's a very hard question. But I do think the good overweighs the bad, and as long as we have like good intentions, like people will misuse these networks for different illicit purposes. But overall, I think it's still a small substack, right? Like the thing is, like the biggest scam that we're facing is this fiat money, right? Fiat money is the root of all evil, is the power to our oppressors, and it's basically there is much more rot in that system, and as long as we can build it a little bit better, that's already a step in a good direction. So I do hope for a system where we can build it a little bit. It's one step at a time, and we will get bad actors, like similar to that we have bad actors in fiat, right? So I think it's just part of an evolution, and we shouldn't focus too much on it. But at the same time, we should call out these things harder. What we do right now, like what North Korea is doing there is not good, and these hackers they shouldn't do that. And there's probably a lot of other illicit things as well happening, and we should just call it out as a system and hope that we can, as a collective, kind of like fence against that, right? And that also looks into the crypto Llama risk team, crypto risk team.
Yeah, talk a bit about the work you're doing there.
Yeah,
It's
so
phenomenal stuff from my vantage point.
it's a group effort, right? So like I'm part of the crypto risk team, and basically me and Fiddy and myself, we started it a long time ago. We recently upgraded the logo, the Llama risk logo.
It's a nice
And,
logo.
yeah, Noens did that. Like hats off to Noens, like amazing job. And it's like a group effort. There's a D-word board where anybody can like come in and do that. So how it started was basically Fiddy and myself. We started to come in on a question from the community of like, hey, we need a risk team to analyze the curve gauges that are getting up, because we don't want to get any bad actors that are being whitelisted that then will rug pull a community and basically take all the CV emission and also sell that. And basically it's a lose for all. It's a lose for Curve, it's a lose for the people that get rug pulled, and it's a lose for the Curve reputation, right? So how do we increase that? How do we increase the quality of projects? That was like the premises of like, okay, when a project comes and when they want to get a gauge or when they want to become like whitelisted or etc., we want to create a knowledge base for people to go in there and read before they ape. So that was kind of like the idea. And we started with like more like dense, deeper research papers. And now we're trying to make it more like a community effort, because we realized it's really hard to keep up the like output of that. And now we're trying to make it more like a community group effort and get more people in to do research, and we just like peer review the papers that are being released on the Llama and the Curve risk team. Yeah. Lately, I've been quite busy because I've been working on a project in Miami that I actually recently stepped down from. So I will have more time at hand as of the end of mid next month. So then I will probably publish some new articles as well, or peer review some new articles. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. And, you know, I feel like a testament to what an amazing job you've done with kind of curating like these curve emissions gauges. So the article I was mentioning yesterday, where I was asking about like all the Chinese, what's going on. They were comparing basically getting a curve gauge nowadays is like the same effect as like getting listed on Binance a few years ago, right? Like a few years ago, it's like you get listed on Binance, it's a big thing, everyone's super excited. Nowadays, it's not the Binance listing people want, it's the curve gauge. So
amazing.
So you're really doing phenomenal work in terms of keeping the ecosystem clean. And I feel like actually it kind of answers the earlier question I have of like, how do you make the space good? Well, you have like a team like Llama Risks that sits there and audits and is super careful of all these things.
And I do believe in self-regulation, right? Like, and the thing is like how we are now structuring it, and we're still, it's an ongoing effort, and we really need all the input that we can have. It's like more like a scientific publications, for example. Like a lot of scientists, they were kind of free to get like that thing, like, hey, I publish on this published article here and here. We kind of want to make it the same. Like if you publish something in Curve Risk Team, anybody will be able to publish or have ideas that they want to research, and they can come up with ideas and publish that in our Substack or other channels that we will potentially build in the future. And we're also thinking about making it more a generalized thing or not. So it's an ongoing discussion, and there's a lot of like other risk DAOs that are doing things. But what I see from a lot of the risk DAOs and other things, it's all from a very strong financial angle. For example, I've seen people like the reports that we're writing, for example, like I did it more together also with Vidi and other people that are on the risk team. They're all more doing it as a self-altruistic kind of like thing. It's not something you really do for money, because it's not really, there's budgets, and there is also, there's fame in it and stuff, and there's not a lot of knowledge. And because also we have a crypto risk team, discourse channel with amazing people and amazing knowledge that's being spread. So you do more for that, and some other like risk DAOs, they charge like $150,000 or $100,000 for something very similar that we do at the risk team for or sometimes it's for free or for a better Curve ecosystems, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're holding CRV or if you're doing that, you're incentivized to make that system better. And that's what I see a lot of people doing, and it makes me very bullish, right?
Nice. So just some good comments have been streaming in while we've been chatting here. So I wanted to address those. MF Income, who we heard from a bit earlier, points out that banks are hypocrites. They've been enabling criminal activity since forever, and they know it. So there's a reason that US dollars remain the vehicle of choice for terrorists and criminal cartels.
They are the criminals.
Yeah. OX Rich Genius, who's joined, and by the way, AJ, OX Rich Genius, pipe in. It's a party. You don't need permission to speak at a party.
OX Genius is basically helping us with this beautiful camera setup. So big shout out to Rich Genius. He's sitting in the other room now, but he's helping us with this camera setup. That on YouTube you will also see the other camera angles that we're filming. So
also a gorgeous profile picture in terms of the Pepe in a jumpsuit. So please.
It's a Slav trap Pepe.
Slav like trap Pepe. That's ultra rare, I believe.
Yeah. So guys, I want to pick your brains if you let me.
Let's go.
What do you guys think about zero knowledge proofs? So imagine, for example, like a DEX that's order book based, where you can have very similar functionality to a centralized exchange, in that you can place orders without revealing every other position you have.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
You can prove that I can back this order up and I've committed to it. It's placed, but you don't know exactly who placed it.
As I said, it's a time frame discussion that's going to happen, and it's going to be massive, and it's going to blow all the current things out of the water. Basically, it's my opinion. What do you think about it?
I agree. I mean, it's kind of silly. So first of all, I do think it has to be its side chains, because Ethereum gas. We're in this era where Ethereum gas is relatively cheap. It's still costs $5-10 per transaction, but we all remember a year ago it was costing $150, $200, $1,000 some cases to get basic transactions through. But it's the L2 narrative that's going to fuel it. You're going to see these exploding on the Arbitrum and even Optimism. All the side chains are going to go bananas with all this. I don't know if you got a chance to read Vitalik's latest. It's 3 days ago. He released his thoughts on how to increase privacy in addresses on Ethereum. And I think that this should apply similarly to all the side chains. There it is. Boom, AJ.
Nice. Thank you, AJ.
Genius. Maybe we could share the screen so people can read through this, because it's such a cool article. But basically, am I limited? I actually was only reading it on the way over here. So I kind of missed it because I was dodging and weaving through Bangkok traffic. There you go, yeah. But basically the concept is that like, if I'm trying to send you some money, like I can basically like sign something saying, here's a like burner address, which I'll be able to deposit to. You can then sign something saying, I can read from this burner address.
Wow.
And there's even a way of like, providing like a modicum of gas for it. Like basically saying like, I can vouch that I can pay for the gas for this, which means theoretically like I can send you an NFT to that address. You can claim it from that address. Goes through all the like details of it. Brilliant stuff. And I think that technology like this has really been like something that is too lacking. Oh, there goes the stream.
What is that?
I think we're still on. I think you just closed the screen share and he's
Yeah,
asking for feedback on it.
Oh, there you go. Oh.
So I think like the privacy angle had been the thing they've been missing the most. Because right, we had Tornado Cash, which everyone became afraid to use because it got sanctioned. So you couldn't do like a stealth exchange because you don't leave North Koreans using it. And then like Railgun is the kind of the newest up and comer, but it's not focused on privacy necessarily. Like they have a privacy component to it, but it's not supposed to be for like concealing funds. But it might, as it turns out, like thanks to Vitalik's article here, become like fairly central to how Ethereum operates.
And Vitalik's articles have been spot on, right? Like if you read some DeFi things that he was saying like in 2015, 16, or maybe...
Blows me away.
It's insane, the things he predicted. So most things in Vitalik's blog are like kind of like lagging, right? Like he's writing it down like 2 years later it's happening. So yeah, it's probably going to take some time before it's there, or maybe much faster, right? The technology advantage, like something that would take 20 years, normally it's like, that would take 5 years. Something same in crypto is something that took like maybe a year to develop. Now it takes like 5 months. So it's like, I do see like...
Crypto is simultaneously fast and slow, right? Like, it's like these things happen and are all happening at breakneck speed. And yet still like it can sometimes take a year before these things hit potential. So
funny, right? Like when you zoom out, it's like, what did actually happen, right?
Right.
And then it's like, okay.
Like Curve V2 pools are over a year old at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just getting understood by people.
Yeah.
So it's like these things can happen fast and slow at the same time.
I agree.
One thing I think is kind of, so this is just kind of a funny aside. Like a year or two ago, someone was asking me, like, would I rather, if I was forced to like have a job and work for someone, would I rather work for Vitalik or Sam Bankman-Fried? And I answered Vitalik, of course. I just thought it was funny because both, like, not to dox my age too much, but I'm older than both of them. Like, it was kind of like a no-brainer to me because like I looked at Sam and I was like, okay, Sam's like a smart trader.
This is before
all the collapse. I was like, yeah, it seems like Sam's a smart trader, but like he just doesn't strike me as a brilliant person. Whereas Vitalik, like I have no compunction about admitting that he is like, I'm here, he's like way up here. He's a genius. So he's like one of those people who are like, all right, you talk, I follow, like I'm listening to what you have to say.
And that's the beauty about these things, like also about the blog that he wrote. The beauty about decentralization is that you can put people in their core power with the right intentions, do the right things. And that's gonna rule the world eventually. Yeah.
To what level do you feel Ethereum is decentralized? Because I know that Bitcoin maximalists, they kind of need like a knock against Ethereum, and they're saying, oh, it's not centralized, it's not decentralized anymore. It's all owned by the World Economic Forum. Is there
that's a ridiculous thing, of course. But I mean, it is a dangerous thing. Like when I see certain governments now like experimenting with Ethereum, I'm always kind of skeptical, or there are some skeptical things. Or when you see 1inch at Davos and things, that's not to do really with Ethereum, but still, like it's like, what's happening? What are the powers at play? What's infiltrated? What's not infiltrated? I mean, it's kind of hard, right? The thing is, like with mining as well, like mining can become centralized, right? They always talk about plutocracies because
I think mining is more centralized than validators, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
because
we're both running, and we're just having some cool discussions about how many blocks that we both hit. Like I hit one block. Gary's very lucky.
3 in the course
blocks.
of 2 months.
That's amazing, man.
I'm like, this node is in the top 5%. I'm like, then the other nodes haven't like had a block in 6 months, so it really is random.
I think your node is blessed. It's probably the special NFTs in your wallet, right?
I guess so. I do have some gorgeous NPC NFTs.
There you go. Yes.
And just a little small plug. Anyone who's got any of these NPC NFTs, go to the website and stake them. Are you staking it?
No.
Oh, we have a staking solution now.
Oh, wow.
We just launched this a couple of days ago, so you can stake it. So we had this token that we issued thing. It's a worthless, if, in case any regulars are watching, it's a worthless token.
Okay.
So
investment advice.
Yeah, not investment advice. Like you're not doing it for this, but you only got it by minting, and a lot of people didn't mint because the mint sold out really quick. People were like, "How do I get this thing token?"
Yeah.
So now you can stake and earn a thing token.
So going back to the main question, I think Ethereum is in a different way more decentralized than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is in a different way more decentralized than ETH. So it's a theoretical discussion.
Which is why you need both, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's why we do need both, and we're way we should work together more. What I want to see is a day where we can have a DeFi hackathon with Bitcoin people and ETH people all working together, trying to build cross-chain DeFi platforms between proof of work and proof of stake, and you can just morph into all these things, right? DBDC is coming out soon. Very hopeful for that.
Yeah, so. I think they just applied for a gauge vote, so I think they.
Oh wow.
So I think they're going to be one of the next ones listed.
Look into that. So,
and honestly, what's kind of crazy is anyone who's been sticking through this bear market and doing DeFi, yields are really good right now.
Yes.
All the Ren BTC, of course, just
I've been farming CRV and FXS for a long time now, and I'm very happy because the yields are okay-ish and good, and then also the underlying tokens are going up as well. So it's
exactly. So it's not only do you get good yields, but you get a nice little bonus if you're farming at the bottom. So I know a lot of people couldn't or were afraid to because understandably when everything's exploding, people are I can't keep my money anywhere. I can't keep it in banks because all these exchanges are going under. Banks can brick your assets. DeFi, who knows what's going to survive? As it turns out, DeFi was the winner for all this.
I'm rotating 70% of my tokens back into pools, and I sell 30-40% into it. That strategy worked so far very good, and I'm probably going to keep on doing that with different things. So wow, and that's interesting. So you have the NPC NFTs, which I really like. I have the one that I supported the regulatory budget for the Lex node.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's an NPC NFT.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a really beautiful NFT. So definitely check it out. What is your? I find it still fascinating, the whole NFT thing. I just met a friend of mine. I recently was in Dubai, and I met a friend of mine that I didn't see for 2 or 3 years. And he got really rich with NFTs, and I was just asking him what did you do? Or he was laughing, and then he's making ApeCoin, and I was really nice. But I'm very happy for him. Not that I'm jealous or whatever. It's more okay, but it's sustainable. And he actually says himself, no, it's not sustainable. So I sold most of it. So it's Is it just Ponzi's, or will we see real NFT use cases? Because I still don't really get it. Or you're also maybe on the same page.
So I'm I'm trying to be a realist about these things, right? Yeah. In the same way that you are, where it's you don't want to be maximalist or get wedded to one thing. You just want to keep your mind open and say what is the actual state of things. And I can't ignore the fact NFTs are a real thing, right?
Yeah.
So I try to whatever extent I can pay attention to the NFT space. It's never going to be my first thing. Just because realistically, if you're looking at it, even at this bear market, the total volume locked in DeFi still dwarfs the amount of the entirety of the NFT space. The NFT space is actually really small. The amount of attention it gets, right?
Yeah, it's really
so
small.
Even when you combine the market caps of these blue chip NFTs, they're tiny. Yeah. But the attention share for NFTs versus DeFi is crazy.
We need to build DeFi protocols that are as easy to understand as NFTs. Right.
I think so, but actually, I don't know. They're so the thing that surprised me, because I've started to dive a bit in tiptoe into the NFT space, and again, it's never gonna be a primary thing. It's really mature, the NFT space, much more mature in terms of the instruments they built out for it than I would have thought. Mm-hmm. They have a number of services that allow you take NFTs and launch pools, liquidity pools, automated market makers.
Wow. Using
NFTs. And they're fairly commonly used. SudoSwap is the biggest one that I'm aware of. And there's a number of them that are competing with it. So it's super easy if you have a bunch of NFTs launch a SudoSwap pool, and the way it usually works there is whoever launches the pool gets all the trading fees from it.
Wow.
But we struggle with all this in DeFi. How do we build a user interface? But they've literally built DeFi protocols for NFTs within the space. and NFT people are able to use it. And NFT people can't always even keep their seed phrase straight, so it's like pretty amazing.
Amazing, I love it. Yeah, it always fascinates me about the space. Like, how do we reach the next 10,000 people? What will be the catalyzer to get there?
NFTs are honestly a good way to do it, in my opinion.
I think so, right?
Because like people get it. Like my parents like are more like crypto savvy than most, and even they don't understand all the DeFi stuff, but they kind of can wrap their head around NFTs. They're asking how could they do an NFT auction for like an artist friend they know for a fundraiser, and I was like, so they get that. They're not asking me about like Curve yield farms. They're not asking me about all these things.
Okay.
And also like if you just look at the Web 2 analogy, right? Like on Web 2, like Facebook was pretty popular, but then Instagram started blowing it away. Like Pinterest was like hugely popular. Like there's a lot of super visual people where like the visual component just makes sense to them and they can spend all day browsing.
Very small tweaks, right? Like think about Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, whatever. There are some very small nuances in all these platforms that just made it huge. Hotmail, or like remember when you sent an email before, like send with Hotmail? That really was like a big thing that everybody had Hotmail for, right? And then everybody has MSM, and then everybody switched to Snapchat and other things like let's keep on like working on the space and try to build easy to use, really easy to understand, like in it like 5 seconds kind of pitches, like here's an NFT with a DeFi protocol in it or something. Like I think that's all going to be possible.
I mean, I think the thing is, like with DeFi, like most people are probably financially illiterate. Yeah. And it's sad to say,
including myself. Before I went into DeFi, I never really bought the stonks or something. Like I had some stonks. I have some portfolio with small stonks, but I was not really.
But it doesn't matter if 95% of the population is not smart enough to buy a stock. Like still the stock market and like finance runs the world for the 5% who understand it. So I'm fine with DeFi being niche for the 5% of people who aren't financially illiterate. And the rest can get onboarded through buying monkey pictures and buying like what all the other fun stuff, because you kind of need all the other fun stuff for 95% of people that probably can't or shouldn't be managing their money.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
Like I feel like America, like Europe's hopefully asleep at this point. America is probably like needs to get home, get off work. But the last few minutes we have, like, what's your thoughts on what's next? Like, what's the future? What gets you excited about the space?
Yes. There's actually a lot of things now that make me excited. I just like see a moving space that's moving back to a core that's like healthy and not just like scamming and pumping and dumping stuff.
Right.
So that makes me very excited. Just seeing a lot of people that are in the past were just like doing all like shitcoin or food farms, things like that.
I remember all those days.
All rotating back to like, okay, let's run node farms, let's run our own node setups, let's like kind of shield some of the wallets, etc., etc. And that gets me very excited. People going back to a core culture of like, why are we here and what are we doing? And I think from that we will build amazing things. I'm not sure what yet, but we will see.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna go a bit sideways, upways, downward. It's gonna be a bit of a crabby like year, I think. And I think in 2024 or mid 2023 we'll see another huge explosion. So time to build. That's what I feel. And I just have I have a lot of ideas that I want to build out.
Anything you want to plug or anything that we forgot to talk about you want to chat?
No, not yet. Soon. TM.
Soon TM, yeah. No, I hear it. It's like, I'm hoping for a prolonged bear market because I really want the like bear energy, because the building was so good in the bear market, in my opinion.
I agree.
I'm afraid we're going to get a run up, but then, bull markets are fun too, because like everyone's happy. And
as long as you have high yields and go sideways, I think we're both happy, right?
That'd be the dream, right?
Then we can build. So I'm bullish building. I'm bullish going back to core culture. One thing I always want to start is like rag news, of course, like rag news in the videos, going back with Julian. I want to start on my own channel. I'm going to post more videos. I want to do more maybe explainer videos. I want to do something about home staking soon as well, like an explainer about Dapnote, Avado, or your own setup. Like, how does that work? Yeah, super bullish. And I'm also I think we all need to understand this. Like, we're still so early, and I didn't even realize that in 2019 when I did my DeFi course. I did a DeFi course, and I was like, yeah, there's no need to build a new DeFi wallet because we have MetaMask and we have but no, there's a lot of things to do. Like, it's just insane, and we're still like early. Yeah, that's what I'm bullish on. Yeah,
Here. I'm so glad we could make this happen. First in person.
Yes,
this is amazing.
Yes,
more of these. So
amazing. I really love it, man. And I invite everybody, and especially you, to come back to Bangkok very soon. And I hope to see
how could I stay away? It's so nice here. Look at this. Look at this.
It's beautiful.